Hello everybody, this is Manjula here, and today in this video we'll discuss calculation contexts. Calculation contexts are nothing but report techniques wherein we can override the default context with which a measure is calculated. So what exactly is default context? Default context is nothing but dimensions that participate in the block. They define the default context with which a measure is calculated. For example, when we look at this example here, when we have the lines dimension associated with the sales revenue, it is calculated based on the sum of revenue for that particular lines over all the years that is present in the data provider. If I have a filter set up at the year level, and if I'm bringing in only the data for 2004, then this sales revenue will be calculated for just the year 2004. But in my data provider I have all the years 2004, 5 and 6, so this sales revenue is aggregation for all the years for the particular line. Now let's look at the second table. What happens if I drag in a year dimension into the table? Now the aggregation happens at the year level for this particular dimension. So this is called the default context. The context varies based upon the dimensions involved in the block. So the sales revenue, the measure, gets calculated based on the default context present. By the default context, what I mean is the dimensions involved. So if we look at this table here, it has only the year dimension and it has sales revenue. So what's happening here is that for 2004 it's calculating the sales revenue for all the product lines that I have in my data provider. Each one is working based upon the context that it's being called upon. So we are not doing anything here to manipulate the way the sales revenue is being displayed. Webi does it for us automatically. When we want to enhance our reports, when we want to do something more with our reports, and we don't want to use default context, in that cases we'll use calculation context. What exactly we are doing here is we are manipulating the default context, and we are telling Webi exactly how we want it to calculate a measure for us. So let's see the types of context. We have two types of context. We have input context and we have output context. And in input context, the operators we have is in operator, for each operator and for all operator. The in operator is used when we want to specify all the dimensions explicitly to calculate a value. And the for each operator is used when we want to add a dimension to the existing context. What it does is it uses the dimensions already present in the context and adds the one that we specify. And for all, what it does, it removes a dimension from the context. It totally removes the dimension whichever we specify, which is already in the context. For example, if I have a table with lines, year and sales revenue, and if I specify for all year, then it will totally remove the year and it will calculate just for the lines and the sales revenue. The value displayed will look as if it was calculated with just for the lines. Now we'll see examples on how to use the context operators. The first context operator that I'll be showing you is the in operator. Let me add a column here. So this input column will display as the quarter with max revenue for 2004. As data provider, I have 2004, 5 and 6. So the sales revenue displayed here is for all the years. So now I will be displaying the maximum uh, revenue generated in any quarter for the year 2004, and for that I will create this formula here. Maximum sales revenue in open brackets, and within the brackets you will have to provide each dimension in square brackets, and if you have more than one you will have to separate them with semicolons. So it's after the I'll use the lines dimension. I want it to, it's just like grouping by, I want it to group by lines, year and quarter. Okay, this will give me the lines, years and quarter for any year. It will be for any year. Let's try this and I'll show you. This is for any year. See, 2, 6 for the product accessories here. Let's display this. Okay, for the accessories line, so in 2004 this is the maximum, 2005 this is the maximum, and in 2006 this is the maximum. And in all these, if we see 2000 2,616,000, this is the highest. So that is what is being displayed here, because now it doesn't have a filter over year, it is using all the years and all the quarters. So now I have to add a where clause. We can use where clause, and we can say where year equals 2004. So now the data that will be displayed will be filtered for 2004. And if you see, the quarter with maximum revenue in 2004 for the lines product is 1138127, and that's exactly what's being displayed in here. In this way we can manipulate the way a measure is being calculated. Now let's see another example for the next operator. I'll add another column here, and this will be for the for each operator, and I will display the revenue generated for the year 2004. So here this sales revenue is for all the years, for year 2004, 5 and 6. And now if I want to display just the revenue generated by the year 2004, I can use the lines dimension in here, and I can specify it to use the year dimension and have a where clause where I can filter the data only for the year 2004. So in the formula editor, once again I will go and I will say give me the sum of sales revenue for each year where year in less 2004. So what it's doing here is, when we use for each, it will use the dimension already present in the context and add a dimension. It's adding a dimension year to the lines dimension, and it is filtering the data for 2004. The formula is correct, and now it will display me the revenue for 2004. How do we know that this is this is correct, we can just drag in the lines, the year and the sales revenue, and see for the year 2004 the sales revenue is exactly the same as what is being displayed in this column here. That is an example of how we'll be using a for each context. Now I'll show you how to use a for all context operator. In this table here I have the lines, the year, quarter and sales revenue, and if I want to display next to each quarter's revenue, if I want to display the total revenue for the year, and this can be any year, I mean it can, for 2004 it has to display the sales revenue for 2004, and 2005 it has to display the sales revenue for 2005. So in that case we'll use the for all. If we remember, what for all does is it removes a dimension from the context. So here I'll use, okay, sum sales revenue, that's the measure for all quarter. So I'm asking it to remove the quarter dimension from this particular context. Okay, we have to have the square brackets. What we actually specified in here is sum the sales revenue for all quarter, remove the quarter dimension from the existing context. So it will remove the quarter and the remaining dimensions would be the lines and the year, and it is giving us the total sum of some revenue for that particular year. And once again we can validate it by using this.